Hello, ground passers, and welcome to the episode that you all wait for every Grand Slam season. I have coffee in my hand. I probably will not let it go because it's warm and I'm bracing for a snowstorm in New York. It's who knows. When we get weather reports like this, Ian, it's usually between it's going to be Armageddon and all we get is, flurries, or it actually really is bad. So we're going to see what we get overnight. But how are you? How is sunny California?
It's great out here. We've had a very good stretch of weather, and I feel terrible for everybody that's having to go through some single digits and sub-zero temperatures. Trust me, I'm from Buffalo. I know the winter weather, and I know these storm advisories and all the buildup that goes into the days before it. So yes, fortunately it's 60 something and sunny. I think I'm playing tennis a little later. Sorry, that's all I got to say.
I'm just shaking my head. You're like, I'm going to go play tennis later.
I might go to
But
the beach.
no, stop it. Stop, 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 stop.
It's the ultimate California flex is like the beach in winter. Yeah.
Exactly, exactly. We're recording this on Saturday, January 24th. This episode is actually going to be out tomorrow on Sunday. So there's your time frame for you there. Ian, you are mostly with me when we do these episodes talking about the fashion in tennis, but just for everyone who maybe it's their first time listening to Ground Pass and don't know who you are, who's Ian?
Oh man. Well, first of all, you always crush these intros. I gotta say, like you hop right into it, you hit the record button. There's no like second take. You kind of always nail these intros. So kudos to you. You're becoming a seasoned vet in the podcast world.
Yeah.
So yeah. I mean, people kind of know me as 40 Love or 40 Love Tennis. I've was one of the first accounts that was really just kind of talking about tennis fashion back when I started it, maybe 5, 6 years ago at this point. But yeah, I still talk tennis fashion all the time. I talk about stuff on the tour, do a bunch of other stuff in the tennis space as well. But I always love coming on to your podcast and other podcasts just to talk about the culture and the fashion and especially around the Grand Slams. So yeah, excited to be back.
Yes, we love having you on because we go long on these ones. So we'll see how we do here. So welcome to the Australian Open Ground Pass Podcast Threads podcast episode. It's going to be great. That is not a cohesive name. We're working on the name, but you get the idea. You get the idea. But first, before we get into anything, because we are in the middle of a grand slam. If you are following us on social media, you know that I do daily short, kind of like 90-second recaps of what I feel are the most important stories of the day. So we just released our day 7 recap. But since we are recording today, I thought we would go through quickly one of the biggest stories, or a couple of the biggest stories that happened overnight. Let's start first, I think, with let's start with Stan Wawrinka because
Sure.
that's like a good moment for sure. Stan Wawrinka played his last match at the Australian Open. He lost to Taylor Fritz in 4 sets, so he did put up a fight there. And he got to the third round of the Australian Open at 40 years old. Watching his run so far has just been so joyful and fun, and seeing someone still be able to put up a fight and be tough competition for his opponents who are much younger than he is. Have you been watching any of Stan's runs so far?
Yeah. I'm a big fan of Wawrinka. I think when you talk about the big three era, and often you hear people try to expand that to the big four. I think for me, statistically, the four is Andy Murray, but a lot of people do make the case for Wawrinka. I mean, after all, he won a Grand Slam on three of the four venues, so no small feat. That's to do that in that era is incredible. But I think more importantly, like I don't know that I appreciated him early in his career like I do now, and you hear he does court interviews and he talks about the game, and it's hard when a player gets towards the end of their career, and Djokovic is experiencing this right now. You kind of can't avoid the questions of when do you plan on retiring or what keeps you going, and that's kind of what all of the press conferences and questions end up being about when a player's at the point that they're at, like Wawrinka. And for 2-3 years, his answers have stayed really, really consistent as somebody that just loves the sport of tennis and loves to compete. He wasn't ready to leave the game yet. I'm sure it mattered that he wasn't being as successful as he was in the past, but that wasn't deterring him from playing still. And he's playing in 250s and some challenger events and stuff. And I just really, really, really respect him as a steward of the game. I posted about this on 40 Love. He is somebody that he's one of the last guard of, I think, the generation, the big three in that generation that I think we just really look back on as people who really respected the game and respected the etiquette and respected sportsmanship in a very different way. I think back to, was it against Runa? He had some comments about how to act, on court, and some people might have taken it the wrong way, but I just think he's a really, really classy individual. And these last couple matches that he's been playing, there's no sadness about it. I think he really is just like, I'm just going to hit home run balls, and this is just a party for me. I'm having fun. He's getting the wild cards into the Grand Slams and getting the, wild cards into tournaments. And he's just really enjoying it. And I think the fans are giving him the love that he really deserves. It's bummer to see him go out now. I would love to have seen a little bit more of a dream run from him at Australian Open, but his matches have been really, really fun to watch. So yeah, great guy. Love that he cracked a beer with Craig at the end of at the end of the match last night. So.
And yeah, that moment was so perfect. And only Stan, I think, could carry that off. Earlier on, it was like his match before, a beer can had dropped from the crowd and he picked it up and he was like, I'll crack a beer with you guys. And he did. He actually did crack a beer with them. Yeah, he's definitely from another generation, and it actually has been really nice to see this run for him. You can't always guarantee how you exit a sport. And even if this is the only moment he has this year, it's still been quite awesome to watch. Next, really quick, because we will be talking about her very shortly, because it's all about the fashion in this one, but Naomi Osaka unfortunately withdrew from the Australian Open. She is still carrying an ab injury, which, if you remember from last year, she also withdrew from the Australian Open with an ab injury. So this is probably something she's just carrying. It's a bit of a bummer because there was a possibility. I think her next opponent was Madison Ingles, who was a qualifier. And hey, we are the podcast of qualifiers. We support them. We think they're more dangerous than most people think. But she did have a chance there, Ian, to get to the second week.
Yeah, I think Osaka's playing really well right now. Definitely a bummer to see her go out with an injury here. She's had a lot of success at the Australian Open, but one door closes, another one opens, and this is a huge opportunity for Madison Inglis. She's had more success in the past. She's definitely been a little bit. I went back. I believe she made a third round of the Australian Open before, but it was like years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Like 2019 or something like that. I can't remember. I have to go back and look, but yeah, I mean, gives she's Australian as well, and it gives the people in Australia another hometown favorite to cheer for. They've got De Minaur in the men's and Inglis in the women's. So
yeah. And then, of course, finally, the story of day 7 has to be the match between Eliot Spizzirri and Jannik Sinner. Now, if you've been listening to Ground Pass over the past month, we have been screaming, basically, about our documentary series Off Season, where we cover Eliot Spizzirri and a few other players. We go behind the scenes of their off season. It is currently airing. I'll leave a link in the show notes of this episode so you can check it out. But I obviously was watching this match because I was watching every single player of the offseason, their matches and following up. And I have to say, when this match came up, I was optimistic only because I was with Elliot during his offseason. So I knew what he could do. And I thought, wouldn't it be great if he just took it to Sinner? Him taking that first set, Ian, even I was shocked. I was like, he just won the first set. He just won the first set. And then it all went from there. But just starting with the first set and probably the second, Elliot's game, you also have a relationship with Eliot Spizzirri. What did you think of his performance yesterday?
Yeah, well, I'm sure you'll circle back to it, but I did get a chance to watch the first episode of Off Season, and it's fantastic. I really can't wait to watch more, and I was really excited to see some of the players that you got a chance to highlight. Elliot being one of them, and yeah, I was really excited for this match. I have a little relationship with Elliot as well as Ethan, who is in your series there. And Elliot's just a really incredible guy. I mean, he was just really well spoken, super nice to me when I got a chance to chat with him. And I know what he's capable of because I follow college tennis. He was top college tennis player at the time. He had the highest rated player. He went to Texas, really battled a lot of adversity in his college career, but also like he plays in like hot conditions in Texas. He plays in hot conditions now training in Florida. So I'm looking at this match and I'm seeing that it's going to be 101 degrees and Sinner struggles with that. So I kind of had that circled for a lot of reasons. One, because I just really wanted to see, Elliot with this opportunity first time it was the first time he made the second round and then he made the third round. It's the first time in his career he's going to have that opportunity. And just to be able to play Sinner was going to be such a good measuring stick for where he's at and what he's capable of. So it's kind of a situation where if he just played well, it was going to open a lot of people's eyes to Eliot Spizzirri's potential. And I think you're seeing that. I mean, Serve is talking all about him right now. A lot of news about just how well he played. And yes, Sinner struggled in that first set. And Elliot did not seem bothered. It was 95 degrees, I think, when they started their match. I missed most of the first set. Thank you, ESPN, for your terrible coverage. I do not want to pay for unlimited. No, thank you. But I caught the tail end, and I could not believe that he won that first set. And the story really took off in the second set due to the heat. So we'll hop into that if you want to.
Yeah, no, totally. Because obviously, if you haven't seen the news or read anything, you know, Elliot won the first set and going into the second, and Sinner had started to visibly cramp. Now, the Australian Open has a heat rule that if they have a scale. I don't know what the name of the scale is, but it goes from 1 to 5, and basically if the heat registers and hits the number 5 mark, they stop play. They close the roof of stadiums that have roofs, and all the other play on the outside courts are also stopped until the temperature comes down to a certain level that play can resume. So Sinner wins the second set. It's the start of the third. Elliot has a break in the third. And literally, right as, I'm listening to the commentators and they're basically like, we don't think Sinner can basically go one more minute. And they, right after Elliot breaks, they stop play because the register has hit 5. Now, there's so much chatter about this online right now. What I will say is this heat rule has existed for a while. It didn't start today. It didn't come during this specific tournament. I think I want to say it's 2019 is when this heat rule came about. And if I'm wrong, I will put it on the screen or in the description. But it's been a heat rule for a while, Ian, and obviously they close the roof. Sinner is able to take a break. He comes back. He wins the match in 4. What were you thinking?
It was crazy to see. I was texting everybody. I was posting about it in real time. Sinner's hand was cramping. That's something that happened to him in the past and caused him to withdraw. His leg started cramping. It was progressing to a full body cramp where he could not move. And what I thought was the most interesting was the commentating kind of became about, well, if you're Sinner, what can you do here? You mentioned the heat rule. I wasn't sure if it was the Australian Open's heat rule or if it was the new ATP heat rule. But what they kept on talking about was that the players the players could opt in for a 10-minute break after the third set. I believe it's after 2 sets in a 3-set match, after 3 sets in a best of 5. I might have that wrong. I'm still kind of new to that rule, but they were discussing it in the commentary, and they were just saying Sinner just got to get through this. McEnroe saying, if I'm Sinner, I throw this whole set just so I can get to that 10-minute break, because he couldn't move. And he's going over, Sinner's walking over to Darren Cahill, and he's talking to him, and you can hear Cahill on the mic, and he's saying, just take it one point at a time. And he's telling him, you just have to make it through this set. And you hear him say, if you have to walk around the court, just walk around the court. And I'm like, this is mind blowing. He actually physically cannot finish this match. One part of you, you're like, this is dangerous, and this shouldn't be happening. I think the Australian Open probably should have just started the day with the roof closed. We all have a weather app. We all could have seen what the temperatures were going to get to. But yeah, it was tough to watch. And he was serving just, like he was a beginner, like standing on court, not even moving his legs, hitting the ball in play. He couldn't move. I thought he was done. I thought this is over. How is this guy? How is he going to make it? They were at the time like 1-all, 2-1. Spizzirri ends up breaking, going up 3-1, and that's when they made the call to close the roof. Which, in hindsight, yeah, that altered the match. I think Spizzirri handled it really well, though. He was laughing it off. He's smiling on, at the changeover, just kind of sitting, looking at his box, like, hey, what are you going to do? But it had to. It was unhealthy for spectators, unhealthy for the players to be playing in that kind of heat. I think they probably should have started the day with the roof closed. Yeah, that changed the match, and I understand people kind of looking at that as like, I think Elliot's words were funny timing. But what are you going to do? Like that rule's there for a reason. It's to protect the players. It was too damn hot out there yesterday.
Yeah. No, you're completely right. And that's the thing. I remember, just like you said, when Sinner started cramping, you just don't want to see that. That is not something that's pleasant to watch. He looked like he was in pain, and that's not how you want to win tennis matches. You know what I mean? Yeah. So that was definitely difficult. And again, was he lucky? Of course. But that's just, the luck of the draw in that respect, because it's not like they did anything that wasn't already established. Like, they followed basically the procedures they had. Hey, maybe they will look back at it and see maybe there's certain things we want to change. Like you said, start with the roof closed. We all had the same weather app saying the exact same thing. So, for me, the most important part is Eliot Spizzirri got on the big stage and he got to show what he could do. And, again, check out the off season where we cover his off season along with Ethan Quinn, Haley Baptiste, Camilo Osorio, and Colton Smith. I think something that I took away from the last few days of Ethan and Elliot making it through the first round, the second round, the third round, is so many commentators, podcasters, pundits, everything. They're all just sort of like, oh, who are these people? And in my mind, they've been around for so long, like they've been playing maybe not the biggest tournaments and getting to the second week of Grand Slams. Eliot Spizzirri had such a great run at the indoors last year to break into the top 100. And he was only taken out by FAA, who's like the indoor king. That was a great moment. So it's not like he literally just popped out of nowhere. He's been around, and I hope we can keep telling his story and other players like him, their stories as well. So, yeah.
I agree entirely. There is the level in tennis right now is at an all-time high in that, top 100 is, it's always been your top 100 of the world, your top 100 at your job. That's amazing. But yeah, there's some really incredible players there. And it is interesting kind of seeing how people talk about these players, like, who are they when they have such great backstories and have been a factor on the challenger level or in college tennis or wherever they're coming from. So yeah, it's great to have people like you to tell that story.
We're going to keep doing it. Okay. It is time. Let's get into it. It is time to talk about the fashion moments of the Australian Open. And I don't know about you, Ian, but right from the jump, even before the first week, I just feel this Australian Open and probably the rest of the year we're going to have some big fashion moments. And I think it started with the inundation of just news of players switching brands, switching sponsorships, getting new sponsorships. If you don't follow Hardcourt, Hardcourt is a Substack that I subscribe to, and basically kind of tells the story of all these sort of business of fashion in tennis and like people switching brands and things. And literally, I think it was like every day, it was like 4 different posts. It was like, and this person switched and this person's
Yeah.
joined a new brand. Did you feel that as well? Like, was it a lot, do you think, this year?
Yeah, it's hard to tell if there's just a lot more switching. I think you're right. I think it is, or we are just really more interested in it. So there's better reporting on
Mm,
it, and and definitely credit to Jessica for being one of the people who are really doing that well. So yeah, maybe it's just we're interested in it, and now it's kind of created an avenue for additional reporting in tennis that we didn't used to get. But 5-6 years ago when I started 40 Love, did I care if Demonar went from ASICS to Wilson? I mean, no, probably because both sucked at the time. Yeah, well, Wilson wasn't doing much
yeah,
back then, but like yeah, people were going from like one bad tennis brand apparel deal to another one, so nobody cared. But yeah, I think there's more.
exactly, exactly. Yeah. Well, we're going to start with, I think, something that's been building over time. I feel every time we do these episodes, Ian, we talk about the luxury brands entering into tennis. So we'll talk about that first, but I think before we get into what luxury is doing in tennis, we've got to talk about Naomi Osaka's runway.
Oh
Because
my gosh,
boy,
you're
oh
gonna
boy,
start with this?
we're going to start with the runway because you know what it is? She envisioned that long pathway that the Australian Open has, and she thought,
Mm-hmm.
that's my runway. I got to get a fit to walk down that runway. If you're living under a rock, hello, welcome.
Yeah.
Naomi Osaka walked out to her first match at the Australian Open wearing a custom Nike dress along with couture pieces from Robert Wong. And I mean, my phone exploded. You
Mm-hmm.
know what? Did you see that video of Tim Henman just staring? I think it was TNT Sports that posted it. I'll get a link and put it in. But it's basically Tim Henman is on the air about to sort of like talk about, oh, Naomi Osaka is coming down, and he sees the outfit and
Mm.
just freezes and doesn't know what to say. So, what was your first impression of Naomi Osaka's look when it first came down?
First impression, it kind of reminded me of this video of like when Agassi came out in the hot lava, and the commentators were talking about him as he's walking out, and he takes his sweats off to reveal the hot lava with the lycra underneath, and they kind of you can I have it up on my Instagram, but they kind of can't believe what they're seeing. They're describing it and they're kind of chuckling and they're like, they cannot believe it. And so it kind of reminded me of that a little bit, this outfit reveal moment. So I mean, my first reaction was that. I mean, my head went to, okay, we're back. We're doing outfit reveals now. Walking out on court, and we are attempting to make a splash to the establishment of tennis apparel.
Yeah, yeah. No, it was the same thing I thought. Not that exact moment with Agassi, but basically I was like, "Oh, we're doing it this year."
Mm-hmm.
Because I think we've talked a lot about sort of like, hey, why don't players have like a walkout song or something when they're coming on court? And you know, I love the WWE, that I grew up loving that, and it's like the Undertaker has his own moment when he comes out, and you know obviously this is a little different, but every tournament, be it a Challenger, 250, Grand Slam, they all have a walkout. All of them. And it's like, why not take advantage of that moment to sort of create something? And Naomi Osaka is the one person who's just holding on to that tradition. And she might have resurrected it. Oh, I think back in the day, Serena Williams, Andre Agassi, Roger Federer, They were the stewards. Maria Sharapova, they were the ones who they were like, okay, Grand Slam, I'm gonna have a fit. And so far, it's literally just been Naomi holding it down. But I think with this moment, I would be surprised if other players are not looking at this and thinking, oh, well, I want some of that, right?
Yeah, it's tricky. I've really tried to like wrap my head around exactly all my feelings here. Um, I think when you walk out, we've talked about this on past episodes as well, that we oftentimes what players walk out on court with is better than, they take off their jacket and then, kind of a boring plain outfit or something. And we've talked about it before as being like an opportunity to, show off some cooler gear or different things, different styles and stuff like that, of making the walk on court a little bit more of a moment. I kind of wonder, there's a few ways of looking at it. There's, well, what's the brand trying to do with this, right? If you're a brand and walkout kits become a thing, you're doing it to maybe generate a conversation, maybe sell more product, show a new outfit, a new jacket, a new, whatever. So from a brand perspective, I would understand it. I would understand them being invested in the idea of these moments, these walkout moments. From the player perspective, I would understand the endorsement deals that you could possibly get. I mean, we're probably going to talk about Musetti and the Bottega jackets that he goes out in. Same deal. It gets people talking. Pictures, sent around the internet. Everybody's talking about the jacket that he wears and stuff like that. It's great buzz for them, but also for him, that's an endorsement deal that's paying him, right? So, you've got this other opportunity as a player to kind of make some money there. But then I think, what Osaka is doing kind of flies in the face of those things, where it's not really to sell a product other than
Yeah.
herself, really, I guess. It's
Yeah.
just to express herself. And I think she deserves credit and not criticism for that. She's not selling a
Yeah.
product. She's not, you go out there and buy this, Nike. You can't buy, the couture outfits of aspects of this. It was really just to express herself. So I think she deserves credit for that.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with you there. And it will kind of take me now to the response from a lot of people about, this specific outfit and her walk on and things like that. And by the way, if you're listening to this podcast, I do suggest you watch it on YouTube. It is also a video episode on Spotify as well, because we do have images up of the outfits so you can take a look at what we are talking about specifically. But I love what you said about like, ooh, what could the brands do and like what could the players do? Because Naomi, with all of the looks that she has sort of like worn out on court, it's so personal to her. She
Mm-hmm.
talked about when she did the walkout, an article came out as well in Vogue where she talked about the inspiration of this look, which she worked on with Nike and then also with the designer Robert Wu, who did the couture pieces. So Nike was only responsible for the dress, the hat, and the jacket, but the umbrella, the hat, the veil, and then the sort of pleated pants were from Robert Wong. He's a designer, and if you know his work, which I have put a photo in here, it's like you can just see, obviously, this is his work. It's something he does often. He references this sort of style with the pleats. He does also, I didn't have all the photos here, but he does like a lot of hats as well. So her inspiration, what she went with Nike, was that, her daughter really loved jellyfish and she wanted to in some way incorporate that in the dress. So they did this sort of like ocean blue tealy color with the sort of tendrils that look like jellyfish basically on her jacket as well. It had like the sort of frills on the arms that kind of looked like jellyfish. For the hat and the parasol that she was wearing, they both have a butterfly on it that referenced the butterfly that landed on her nose in 2021 at the Australian Open, the year she won it.
Mm-hmm.
So all these moments are so personal to her, and it's just something she loves. We know Naomi Osaka loves fashion. It's what she wants to do. But I think so many people's reaction to this was all about, what does it have to do with tennis heritage, or
Mm-hmm.
why is it's not about the tennis and it's a bit distracting, which I just found a little, not only misguided, but also a lot of it was just false in a way, because, you know, I have some other photos here of work done by Ted Tinley, who was a fashion designer who designed tennis kits way back in the day. And just looking at his work, you can see all the tennis references, you know, Naomi Osaka's dress to the work that he did. And even I have a photo here of Maria Sharapova wearing this sort of like very similar blue kind of tealy Nike dress, which, by the way, Destiny Ayava wore this dress during her qualifying this year at the Australian Open.
Wow.
So this sort of criticism of people where it's like, it has nothing to do with tennis heritage. It so misses the point of what is happening. And I don't know what you have thought of the response that a lot of sort of like tennis stalwarts, I guess you would say, or
Mm.
people who commentate on this sort of stuff, like what they've thought. Because for me, it really is one of my issues with tennis. We constantly say, we want to grow the sport. We want more new people to come into the sport. And then when stuff like this happens that will attract new people to the sport and bring them in, tennis is like, yeah, but not like that.
Yeah, this is, I mean, maybe this feels like making a bigger deal out of this than we need to, but there are
Yeah.
so many different ways to talk about this. I think people saying that the heritage aspect and the connections to tennis heritage and history not being there, I think that's just wrong. You mentioned Ted Tinling. He used to make custom dresses for players in the 60s and 70s, and they were very unique. They had a lot going on, and that was a thing. She's got the sun hat. That is something that goes back to the very beginning of tennis. Look at any pictures of the beginning of tennis, and the women used to wear those big hats. They used to wear the umbrellas and have that out there too. I think there are obvious connections to tennis heritage and tennis history, tennis's history with fashion. I think that's one way of looking at it, right? So I just firmly disagree with anybody that says that this has nothing to do with tennis or tennis heritage. I just disagree completely. The other way that I kind of look at this and some of the fallout of the conversation around this outfit is like, so here's a good comparison. I called up a buddy before we got on this podcast, and I was just trying to think of like what other sports or what other professions exist where you are a solo athlete or a solo individual that represents yourself, your own brand, where you can have a moment like this to really peacock and show yourself and express yourself and have a spotlight or have something to say in what you're wearing or some sort of a comparison. And I called a buddy of mine. I don't watch F1, so forgive anybody that does watch F1 that is going to obviously have way more to say about this than me. But I brought up Lewis Hamilton, and I had to call him to ask. And I said, I've been seeing these comparisons to Lewis Hamilton, who was a F1 driver that started to take advantage of the walk to the facility as this, fashion runway walk, and started wearing all these really high-end luxury fashion outfits. And of course, the purists or the traditional F1 fans hated it, and there was a lot of criticism, and there's a racial element to it with him too that would get brought up, where it's like, is everybody going to get the same level of criticism? And I do think with Naomi Osaka, I couldn't help but wonder, like, if Sabalenka did this, or is everybody still reacting this way? I think Osaka has a lot of people that just are really averse to when she does things and when she says things or expresses herself in different ways, and there are people that were just not going to like it out the gate for those reasons. I don't know. Yeah, I think it's overblown. I think the reaction's overblown. You could look at this, however you want to. You choose how you want to react to these things. You can have an opinion about it and just be like, hey, I don't get it, but it's her thing. She wants to do that. Good for her. I want to support her being her. You can choose to hate it and be really vocal about that. And I think if you're doing that, it's probably because you are trying to gain something on your own, for just being a hater, for just wanting to speak your mind and get attention for saying things like that. You could love her outfit. I don't, but you could love it and choose to support it, or you can just not let it affect you.
Yeah.
Like you kind of choose the way that you want to react to this. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. There's just so much to say. I've been kind of like rambling here, but I mean, I want to let you hop back in. Um, yeah, I think it was overblown. I really do. I mean, I thought
Yeah.
when you mentioned the thing about her daughter, I'm like, I'm not a parent, but if I have a daughter and she's old enough to watch me on television and I'm wearing something inspired by a personal connection that I had with my daughter, shut the hell up if that bothers you. Honestly,
Thank you.
you don't have to like the outfit.
Thank
Who
you.
cares?
That is like the whole point. And, I think we can end there and move on. But really, art, fashion is objective. Like, you can either like it or not. That doesn't mean it's good or bad. It's a taste thing. And for some people, they love this dress. For others, it's not their piece of cake. That is okay. I just think the criticisms that were used to sort of take down this outfit are so patently false that I
Mm-hmm.
really did want to address it and talk about it, because it's one thing to just be like, it's not my taste. I don't like pleats, which is
Yeah.
fine. There are people who don't like pleats, but to bring up tennis heritage, or it's not really based in any sort of reference, is so wrong. But yeah.
And before we move off this, I just want to add one more thing that I think is really important, which is just take a step back for a second of your personal opinion of her or the outfit. Okay. What do we want from tennis? And that's gonna vary from person to person, right? Somebody who's a little bit more of a traditionalist or purist might say like, no, the tennis courts aren't the place to start a fashion runway, and that's fine if that's your opinion. But I just think when you take a step back and just remove your opinion of her or the outfit from everything, and you just ask yourself, like, what do we want from tennis? What do we want from the people in the sport? Something that you and I have talked about is I latch on to players more. I don't want everybody to be cookie cutter. I want to see players' personalities, right? I want to get to know them on a different level. It gives you reasons to support people. We want players to express themselves. We talk about tennis fashion. That's why we're doing this episode. It's how I, kind of got my start talking about tennis. We want fashion interwoven in the sport. We want tennis to be fashionable again, right? That this is definitely doing that. You want to bring in a new audience to that tennis can appeal to, and you want storytelling. And I think if you just
Yeah.
look at those things, and this is just my perspective, right? This is just those are the things that I want to see from tennis. This checks all those boxes, and I don't care whether I like the outfit or not. I can keep that to myself if I choose to. But this checks all those boxes for me for what I think I want to see from tennis and what I want to see progress in the sport, and have players really express themselves. So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Well said. Well said. So, sticking with, kind of the fashion side of things, I kind of wanted to bring up luxury's moment in tennis, because it's getting bigger every day. Every single day. From Lorenzo Musetti and Bottega, which I really want your take on this, because I think it is not only just that he's Italian, they're Italian, like it is one of the most seamless sort of collaborations in tennis ever. He can wear a Bottega jacket. I'm showing a photo right now of a Bottega leather trench that I just want to wear it. I
I
just want to
I
try
love
it
him.
on, okay?
I love
I
him.
just want to try it on.
I mean, I would never have guessed, 3, 4 years ago before Musetti's rise here that he would just be this like fashion icon in the sport. I had no idea. I mean,
Same.
yeah, what a good partnership. And this photo shoot's awesome.
Yeah, it dropped like, I think it was like the first day of the tournament, and I just thought, wow, wow. If you were not a tennis fan, this photo would convert you. Okay, so but also we had a last minute announcement, and guys, just a little bit of insider news, because everyone was like, wait, what's going on? So this was, I think. It was after her first match. I think it was like the third day or so into the tournament. Aryna Sabalenka announces her collaboration with Gucci. And I was talking to a lot of people behind the scenes in fashion, because it was sort of like a partnership like this. For example, which we'll talk about later, Wilson's kind of foray into men's tennis, all of that was announced during fan week, like way ahead of
Mm-hmm.
time.
Mm-hmm.
This was into the tournament already. And, you know, we were all talking and we were sort of like, yeah, the deal closed 5 minutes ago. Okay. The deal
Wow.
closed 5 minutes ago. They put her in a Gucci cape and they did like a little reel, and literally it's in Melbourne. Like that's how close to the tournament like this deal closed. But Aryna Sabalenka is now going to be representing Gucci on tour. She's now their second athlete. Jannik Sinner, of course, is also a Gucci athlete, and another kind of genius branding kind of collaboration, because I think it's funny. I was talking to someone who said they thought she was more of a Versace girl, you know, but I think Aryna Sabalenka, anything sort of like big, bold, loud logo,
Mm-hmm.
she can rock that. Like that is her vibe. So I just feel like Gucci is totally where she's at. But here's what I wanted to kind of bring up a bit, because you know, we saw the Naomi Osaka thing. Nike made her a custom dress, and this always brings up the question, well, why doesn't Nike do a custom dress for name whatever Nike athlete, you know? But what we learn is they do the dress, but all the sort of accoutrement, the couture pieces, that is actually personally funded by Naomi's management company.
Mm-hmm.
Her team funds all of that stuff. So Nike has nothing to do with the pleated pants or the parasol or the hat. And I'm wondering with these brands, because we have seen, for example, Lorenzo Musetti walking out with that sort of like leather jacket that he did at Wimbledon and the US Open, which was Bottega. Will a brand like Gucci try and do something like that for Aryna Sabalenka and maybe other luxury brands? Looking at you, Louis Vuitton.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you would never know Carlos Alcaraz was a Louis Vuitton athlete with how little he wears anything branded by them. But do you think maybe for these sort of new walkout moments, this is when the brands can step in and say, here's a Gucci cape, rock it down the runway?
Yeah, I think I don't know the ins and outs of some of these contracts that the players have. Like maybe we got to get Jessica on the beat there.
Mm,
I don't. Yeah, I don't know the. You know, like what I'm sure different athletes have different rules for. You know, off court, on court, walk on. You know, accessories. But yeah, I mean, these players are walking billboards for brands now, and I don't mean that in like a superficial way. I think it's in a way that could elevate the sport. It's yeah, I think you're going to see it. I think you're going to see it more and more. I think when you talk about the need for players to be marketed more heavily, which is something that tennis has always really struggled with, and we even just talked about that with Eliot Spizzirri. This is a way for brands to get involved in the sport that aren't already. You know, whether it's a watch company or an earring set or jewelry of some sort, it's a way for brands to get involved in the sport and for individual players to build a profile for themselves of
yeah.
who they are and the brands that they align themselves with. And I think it's inevitable that we're going to see that happening more and more. And I hope to see it for as many players as possible, so it becomes something we can talk about.
Yeah, yeah. We want 3 hour long episodes, guys. That's what we want here. But no, I really love seeing things like this. And we didn't even talk about this earlier with Naomi Osaka, but for the first time, her custom dress is available in stores. You know, you
Mm-hmm.
know what the first thing I saw once the Gucci partnership was announced, Aryna Sabalenka in her press conference was asked about it, and she immediately put on these Gucci sunglasses, which I have never looked at a pair of Gucci sunglasses and said, you know what? I want that. You know what I did when Aryna Sabalenka put that on? I was like, where can I purchase that? I
Mm-hmm.
went and I looked it up. And this is what I think tennis can do for these brands, because people are
Mm-hmm.
like, wait, those are cool sunglasses. People are looking at Lorenzo Musetti's leather trench coat and, you know, hoping it falls off a truck, because that's expensive. Okay. I don't know if we can afford that leather trench coat, but yeah, it's definitely, I think, an opportunity for brands to latch onto players and use their player, you know, profile and popularity to sell things. And it doesn't always work. The reason why I picked these two is because they seem like such perfect natural
Mm-hmm.
partners for these brands. Sometimes the partnerships just look weird and
Right.
they don't kind of work as well. So it's nice to see these.
And yeah, last thing on that, because you mentioned, it's an opportunity for brands to sell products. That's not gonna. We can't. You just said it. We can't afford a Bottega jacket.
No.
So, I think the average tennis fan, if you're just kind of like rolling your eyes at this, is being like, well, what is a few $1 million more in Sabalenka's pocket and Gucci branding do for me? You got to step outside of the bubble for a second. What this is doing for tennis and what this does for the average fan is it creates buzz and profiles for these players to reach an international scale. You're seeing them in ads, you're seeing them in commercials more often. And it just elevates tennis as a whole, as a profitable business that companies want to invest in. It eventually trickles down, and you're seeing record profits right now. This is a trickle down effect that is allowing the governing bodies to invest more in the sport. It's you hope that tennis can still remain accessible to everybody, and you want people going to, I want 250 events to be a big deal too, to go to. And it's getting harder and harder to get into some of these grand slams with how grandiose and all these brand deals. But that's going to trickle down at some point, and hopefully it does. But I think you just kind of, as the average tennis fan, if you're wondering like, well, why does a Bottega deal with Musetti, what does that do for me? I think you just got to look at it through the lens of like, the hopes are that this helps elevate the sport and elevates the Sabalenka and Musetti to be household names everywhere in the same way Cristiano Ronaldo is. That's the goal here.
Yeah.
So that's my 2 cents on that.
Yeah. No, that is so, so well said, because 2026 is the year of the small tournament. We already said it. That's what's going to
Yeah.
happen. So get ready for all of our content about small tournaments you can go to, because US Open tickets are too damn high. All right. Okay. Anyway, going to get off that soapbox real
Mm.
quick. And let's get into what a lot of people come to these episodes for. We're going to go brand by brand, baby. We're going to hit up the brands and talk about them, what we like, what we don't like. Let's run through it. Nike and Adidas. This first slide we have here is all of the Nike stuff. I'm just going to say it. They actually didn't do that bad this time. I'm actually
Mm-hmm.
really liking it, except for one. And I think everybody knows which one. But
Yeah. Well, you've got these pictures up and you're like, which one doesn't belong?
it literally is. So right now I have a picture of, Mira Andreeva, Aryna Sabalenka, Carlos Alcaraz, Jannik Sinner, and Emma Raducanu. And basically 4 of them are part of the same collection. And then they put Jannik Sinner in
I mean,
I don't know,
so
guys.
when we were just talking about Osaka's outfit, and I was just saying, I just don't have the energy for hating on something,
Yeah.
so that was a personal choice, right? And had some creative input. This has no creative input. This isn't personal to Sinner. This is where we can brand bash a little bit, because that is one of the worst tennis outfits I have seen in my 5 or 6 years of talking about tennis fashion. I beg somebody to show me a yellow tennis outfit that actually is good. And this isn't just yellow, this is like mustard. It's bad. It's so
That's the
bad.
thing. If it was, remember that year where Adidas did the sort of like a bumblebee thing, where it was like the bumblebee yellow and
Ugh.
like black, and all their players look like bumblebees? That I can understand. That I can
Mm.
kind of get behind. What they put Yannick Sinner in, this sort of like
Oh, it's so
puke
bad.
green
Oh, it's
and
awful.
like mustardy yellow, but not even mustard. It's kind of like a mustard with a bit of puke green in it.
Mm.
I just I just don't understand how, with his skin tone, this doesn't work on anybody's skin tone, okay? This
No,
is
nobody.
awful.
Yeah, it's
This
really
color
bad.
shade, I just and here's the thing, and I don't think it's one of those things where, I mean, maybe the players just have to wear what they're being put in or whatever, but if someone came to me from Nike and said, "Hey, here's your outfit," no. No. I'd
They
be
had
like, "Give me the
other
all black.
they
Give me
had
the all
they
black."
had they had other stuff to choose from. I mean, this is another year where Nike has all of their athletes wearing completely different things, and you're like,
Yeah.
where are these different collections? You have on here Sinners is the one that stands out as obvious, and he's the only one wearing this disgusting color. You had other players, lower ranked players for Nike, who were wearing more of like a coffee brown version.
Mm-hmm.
And not I don't know that there's any of the players left in the draw that was less offensive than this. He could have had that on. I also saw on the women's side, I saw Haley Baptiste and there's a Russian player wearing an all black with white trim, like kind of like
Yeah.
a classic Nike court collection. And I was like, damn, that's kind of nice. I like that. So
Yep.
you just they're all wearing completely different things. Some of it goes together, some of it doesn't. And you put your, Jannik, I don't want to call him the marquee player because obviously they have Alcaraz too, but you have Jannik Sinner wear the worst of the bunch. It's just really bad. Thank goodness they're hiring a new, I'm sure you've seen Nike's hiring a new creative director or a tennis position that's going to oversee all of the tennis line. So yeah, it couldn't come at a better time.
Yeah, it's needed ASAP. What I will say is I do like what the girls have in this sort of like color block situation that Aryna Sabalenka was wearing and Mira Andreeva, Emma Raducanu, and then also actually Carlos Alcaraz. Like it's not their most offensive stuff for sure. I kind of liked it. I liked the cut in the dress. Like they had different versions of it too. That's the thing about Nike. They have like a million SKUs.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
have the dress with the cutout in the back. They have the dress with the high neck, the dress that's not the high neck.
Mm-hmm.
They have a top and skirt. They have,
Yeah.
they have a lot of SKUs of these outfits, but definitely the color block ones were not as bad as initially when they were first being shown. And this is another thing. So Nike does this thing, and other brands do it as well. But basically, the clothes that are going to, are about to drop, they just put them on sort of fit models. That's what those are. They put them on fit models and they take the photos. It's not the most flattering lighting or
Yeah.
positioning or anything, just like against white outfit done. And those photos come out and the clothes don't look good. They just don't. What I've realized with Nike a lot of the time is when the clothes are on the athletes, they actually do kind of look much better.
Yeah. I mean, I don't completely hate this collection. I think when it came out, you and I might have messaged each other. It's very early 2000s. I think of these kind of
Yeah.
swirly colors, and it kind of reminds me of some of the earlier Rafael Nadal stuff. I think Sabalenka's dress specifically really reminded me of it's almost the exact same colors as Serena's outfit from what was it, maybe 4 years ago. She wore the cat suit with the kind of patch colors
Yeah.
like that, and it's almost the same
Mm-hmm.
colors. And so yeah, I mean, I don't hate it. Very early 2000s to me. I also don't really love it. I don't have much else to add to it. So
Yeah. And that will take us to Adidas. Here's the thing with Adidas, right? They keep it simple. They
yeah,
just do. They keep it simple. They either do what they did at Wimbledon last year, which blew our minds with kind of
yeah,
going back to that sort of Adidas heritage and what do you call it? Is it the trifoil, their old logo that they have that
yeah, yeah,
looks more
yeah,
like a flower?
yeah,
That's what they went.
yeah,
Yeah, that's what they went with.
yeah. This stuff is fine. I don't know. I don't hate it. I don't mind it. I don't know that anybody. I think it looks a little bit more flattering on some players than others, but it just it doesn't really stand out to me for any special reasons whatsoever. This construction cone look.
Yeah, not the construction cone look. But really that's what it
I
is. It's
actually
like I
really
think
like the color
Adidas,
orange too, but I'm like it's a
yeah,
lot of orange.
it's a lot of orange, but I think Adidas, they vacillate between we're going to do something cool and crazy a bit. And when I say cool and crazy, you look back at sort of their Wimbledon collection from last year, which was just the
Yeah,
epitome
yeah,
of just like vintage
yeah. They
tennis
nailed that. Yeah,
look, or they do that partnership that they did at the US Open with the
Y3.
ink ink blot, guys. It's an ink blot. That's what it is, which I actually really liked. A lot of people did not. So they'll either do that or they'll be like, let's pick a color and that's it.
Yeah,
Orange. Everybody's wearing orange. Everybody's
yeah,
wearing orange or yellow. everyone's wearing yellow. So they just, that's kind of their thing. It's not offensive. It's fine.
Yeah, it is weird that they knocked it out of the park so much with that Wimbledon outfit last year. It's kind of like they only have the capacity to do like one knockout per year, and then the rest is
Yeah,
kind of phoning it in.
exactly. Yeah. Next, New Balance and Yonex. Let's start with New Balance. Sure. New Balance at this point, I feel like they have, I don't know what you think, but they just have a formula and it's good.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
I feel like they always tend to pick the right colors, the right cut of outfit. What the photos I have here are of Tommy Paul and Coco Gauff, and they came out with the purple. And here's actually a question. I mean, so Tommy Paul he plays with a Yonex, but Coco Gauff plays with Head
Mm-hmm.
in with her racket. And Head came out with a purple racket this year and a purple bag. Her outfits is also purple and her
Yeah,
shoes. Do you think there was coordination there or just coincidence?
it is. I have to look it up. It is no way that wasn't planned. It's
Right?
way
It's
too
too good.
exact. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like too kind of on the nose that isn't sort of a planned moment. And I feel like this is what I love specifically about Coco Gauff's relationship with New Balance. I think last year when she was talking about her relationship with New Balance and Miu Miu in that collaboration, she was talking about how they had planned that for like a year in advance. Like they knew exactly what was going to come out. They knew that she was going to wear a different outfit at every single tournament. She did not repeat one outfit. And I feel like that's the attention to detail that I love. Like, I love the sort of like, hey, let's do something cool and walk out with it as well. But I love when these brands are actually intentional about what they're doing and it is specific to the athlete.
Yeah, I really respect New Balance. I'm gonna probably butcher this, but I watched a video, follow a few creators on TikTok that kind of talk about the background and histories of certain brands, and I'll have to share it with you. But there's one about New Balance and about how unwavering they've been in making their products in the US and the quality that they put into it. And I think that the whole video that I was watching was actually just about like them sticking to the dad shoe and comfort and
Mm,
quality. And then that
yep.
becoming kind of part of their whole brand identity. And I think they pick the right athletes. They're picking athletes that are really representative of their values. There's a lot of they have Tommy Paul, they have Coco Gauff. I mean, you want to expand into sports, you got Josh Allen for football. They're picking really, really good athletes and good representatives of American sports. And I think they've been one of my favorites the last couple of years. The outfits aren't. I think this color is really flattering on both of them. Um, yeah, no, I mean, I'm glad you put this one on here because I really like it.
Yeah, yeah. And then of course we have Yonex where almost I mean, it doesn't always work that way. Sometimes Yonex does like the wildest color combinations, and you're just like, hey, how did you guys do that? But the stuff that they have here is fine. It's good. It's not offensive. I kind of like what Dinah Schneider. I have Dinah Schneider and Casper Ruud here. This kind of blue and then tennis green situation on the
Mm-hmm.
collar. Like I like details like that. But my favorite part of the Yonex collection for this tournament has been what they put Stan Wawrinka in. Again, because of the little details. Now, if you know Stan Wawrinka, everyone knows those plaid shorts that he wore at the French Open that year. It was chaos. It was I don't know what was happening, but they've become iconic. And Yonex put that same plaid in the sort of like button collar bit of his shirt. And I just,
Yeah.
again, the attention to detail specific to an athlete, like those are things like people can latch onto and understand. And, if you know almost.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like the little subtle touch for Stan. I think that's great. Overall, though, with Yonex, I would, if we're just stepping back, a little disappointed. I thought they were gonna kind of start to make some waves They were starting to do a lot of like brand pop-ups, and it seemed like they were going to take
Mm.
things into a little bit more of a like a streetwear direction, and that they were going to put more into the apparel. And it's like they kind of started down that path, and then this is as far as they've taken it, and they're not really. And it's a lot of the rinse and repeat that you're used to from the other brands, which is like I've seen Casper wearing this style, I've seen the females wearing this dress from them, and they're just changing the colors out. So overall, I
Yeah.
think I'm just a little disappointed in Yonex. I thought that they were really going to make a bigger splash, and with them having the most athletes using their rackets, I think it's a really missed opportunity to not have more 360 deals, because you have, yeah, I think Yonex rackets are the most used on the tour right now. So I don't know. I thought they'd do more, but yeah, I mean, other than Stan's little plaid moment here, not a big fan of it.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, Next, we've got Wilson. And I gave Wilson their own little slide because
They
they've done a
deserve it.
lot this year. They have done a lot. They went with the sort of like maroon pink vibes this year. But if you don't know, so I think in the years that we've talked about Wilson, they've mostly represented female athletes, or at least the outfits that always come up and that we love. It's female athletes. They did have one male athlete in Nicolas Jarry. They had more than that, but Nicolas Jarry was sort of like the highest ranked of them
Mm-hmm.
at the time. And this year they went bold. They went bold with signing Alex de Minaur, Karen Hatchinoff, and a bunch of other new athletes. And it seems like Wilson is trying to make a stand in tennis apparel for sure. I have really enjoyed what they've put out. What I will say is, so I have two photos here of Alex de Minaur. A photo
Mm-hmm.
of what he's wearing, which is sort of the maroon shorts and the white shirt. But during an exhibition at the beginning of the tournament, they gave him the full Roger Federer treatment. He is walking out with a leather Wilson bag with his racket in a cardigan and pants. Like it was the full treatment. And then when he took it off, he had these shorts on, sorry, that almost look like boxer shorts. And
Mm-hmm.
when I say boxer, I mean like the sport boxing, where they have like the thick white border on the sides. And when I tell you I am going to make those shorts my personality this summer, I'm going to wear them every day. You're not ready, people. I am getting those shorts because, of course, they're available on the Wilson website. And I'm making these shorts my personality.
Yes, I obviously big fan of all the stuff that it's pretty much all I wear. I like everything that you've got on here. I like every variation of the dresses you've seen between, Alicia Parks and Kostyuk and Potapova's, wearing Wilson now as well. I like everything here. The outfit that Demon R wore in the fan week is the Claremont outfit. I have a set of those from the Kith collaboration that they did. It's awesome. It's really cool. The boxer shorts are great. I specifically called out the shirt that he's wearing, and it doesn't look like anything revolutionary. It is relatively simple, right? But it's probably maybe my favorite shirt to play in right now. It's called their Serve Out tee. And what I like about it is, until you actually have it in your hands, you maybe not notice this on television, but the stitching is kind of like almost like an argyle, like checkered pattern. And
Ooh.
the edges of it are just the way that the seams are done, they're a little bit thicker, so it just kind of adds like a more premium quality. And it's got a little trim on just the back part of the neck for the color accent. And I have it in two different colors, and it's about to be three because I think I'm going to buy this one. So
Yeah. And, again, I feel like this is the thing about brands like Wilson where and Nike is starting to get there as well, where it's like you see the outfit on court and then you can go purchase it right away.
yeah.
And it's the one sort of knock that I will give to New Balance because you can't do that with a lot of their
Mm-hmm.
stuff. But with Wilson, with Nike, I've already seen real people in these outfits. Like before the tournament started, I saw a girl in the Sabalenka outfit. I was like, you just went to the store. You got the outfit.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's what, is important because it sucks if you're a tennis fan and you see this stuff on court and you're like, oh, it would be cool. I love that dress to play tennis in, but you can't really purchase it. So New Balance, get on it. A lot of people want that Coco Gauff look.
Yeah.
Now, Lululemon and ASICS. ASICS did well this year, no?
It's okay. I don't you well, how do you feel about it? I mean, it didn't really leave much of an impression on me.
Yeah, like the guys' stuff is fine. They went with this again, sort of tealy green color. It really does work with the court colors and stuff like that. I have a photo here of Spizzirri and Lorenzo Musetti. What actually got me was this sort of like almost like pale lilac color dress that the girls had. And I think there is a shorts and pants, like a shirt and pants version as well. It's hard to see the detail in this, but I would suggest to go pull up a photo of it and check it out. But it's almost like laser
Hmm.
lacy type
Hmm.
stuff. And I mean, it looks really cool in the photos that I've seen of Zeynep Somnez, who is wearing this dress on tour. And if anything, that's the one that got me. The guy stuff, I'm like, yeah, it's a shirt and it's pants, and the color
Hmm.
is great for the court. But I really was impressed by this dress that they had.
I just pulled it up because I needed to get a closer view, and it reminds me a little bit of I think what ASICS. When I just kind of mentioned the Wilson shirt and those kind of you have to have it in your hands to kind of see the details and the stitching. That's becoming a
Yeah,
trend across the board. And when we talked about, I think it was U.S. Open last year, Musetti was my favorite, best
yeah,
dressed, and that's really surprising. For ASICS. I don't think I've ever put one of their athletes as best dressed before for a tournament. But what set that shirt apart was I had to see a really high res image of the stitching, and it was almost crocheted around the neck. And that seems to be a trend right now. Is instead of just having this kind of flat, basic stitching, brands are putting a little bit more details that are subtle, and you need to see it in person or get the right reflection in the light. And I just looked up this one that you have here, and yeah, I can see that. I mean, that's those little details are nice. It definitely adds to it, but um, you know, overall, watching on TV, I mean, wasn't really blowing me away.
yeah, yeah. And then we have Lululemon here with their female athlete being Leila Fernandez. I think with her, they kind of do, the thing. Like, I don't think any of her outfits I look at, I'm like, whoa, that sucks. Like, I think they do well with her, but it's not anything I would be shouting about. Speaking of details that we want to go to, like for example, in her skirt here, it's perforated on the edges on the bottom. So all
Mm.
these little details, a lot of times it's like you have to like feel it, touch it, or be super close up. And then
Hmm.
with Frances Tiafo, who is their kind of marquee male athlete, they usually do sort of like custom kits. I don't know what you think about this unboxing thing he's been doing now for pretty much every tournament, where they'll send him a box of his outfit and he'll do like a reel of unboxing. It is a very interesting way of an outfit reveal for athletes. But I kind of like this idea. He's wearing sort of this tie, it's white, but like tie-dye feature of like blue, teal, and yellow, which not it's like more sort of just blue and green, but it's supposed to represent the flag. It's the Senegalese flag, which is where his parents are from.
Mm.
And that was kind of like the reference of the colors. And he's done this before, actually, when he was a Nike athlete, where they did a custom kit for him. I can't remember what tournament it was for now, but he also had sort of like either a Senegalese artist, forgive me if I'm getting this wrong, but he did have a custom kit to represent that. So I think we're just harping on the same things, or at least I am, in the sense that I love these designs when they're personal to the athlete and when they actually mean something to them.
Yeah, I don't have much to say about either of these. I don't, yeah, and this is me. I feel bad because I felt like this Australian Open as a whole, the outfits were really lackluster. There wasn't much that really got me excited. So I'm kind of indifferent on this. I saw somebody compare Tiafoe's outfit to the Jazz Cup. Do you know what I'm talking about?
I knew you were going to bring that up.
So for that, I find it funny. I don't know if you need to explain the reference, then like I don't think you're doing a good job storytelling. Uh,
Yeah.
you know, the Senegalese flag, like I didn't pick up on that. I didn't know that. I didn't see them. I didn't see any campaign around explaining that to anybody, unless I just missed it. But I think if you have to explain it, and people have to search for those details, then you've done a bad job. Like you want to market your athletes, you do a video shoot around that, like tell the story, then it means something a little bit more when you watch them walk out for the first time on court with it. So I don't
Yeah.
know, maybe I missed it, but yeah, it doesn't do anything for me.
Yeah, it was part of those like unboxing things he did, and then he
Mm-hmm.
like posted it. This is all to his like personal social media. So
Mm-hmm.
I kind of get your point there, but the Jazz Cup has been real because that's what I've seen a lot of those references. I've seen a lot of those references to the Jazz Cup with this
Jazz Cup would have
outfit.
been a better design if you ask me.
You'd add the purple and you'd be like there. Now I have a trio here, and I know people are going to be like, you always hate on, but anyway, we
Yeah.
have Fila, Lacoste, and On. And let's just start out the gate with what I don't like, because
Mm-hmm.
when On when On released Iga Swiatek's outfit, and also Ben Shelton, I don't have a photo here of Ben Shelton, but again, I don't need to put a photo of Ben Shelton's outfit. You can guess what it looks like. It's the same thing he's been wearing for a few years. Okay, it's spray paint
Mm-hmm.
diffused onto a white outfit. But they specifically said in the release, because I saw that, they were like, the design of Iga's outfit is to represent the way she plays. Ian, what part of this outfit is representing the way she plays?
I don't know. Is it?
The
Do they
lines, the
find her?
zebra
Do they find
lines?
the way that she plays to be boring? I mean, that would explain it.
Ooh,
I'm
you
not
know?
saying it. I'm not. I'm just
I mean,
uh,
but it's I
somewhat.
don't know. Yeah, and here's another thing that actually came up that, you know, I think it's very interesting, because I think brands need to pay more attention to things like this. Now, I always assume players play in their fit, or at least practice in whatever they're wearing before. But during Iga's first match, in the photo that I have here, this is actually from her second match, she's wearing white shorts. That's not part of the outfit. The actual outfit is a skirt that's only slit on one side and
Yeah.
also has the zebra print there. During her very first match, she tried to rip it.
Yep. I saw
She
that
tried
video.
to rip it on court because it was
That's a great sign.
uncomfortable. And I'm just like, that's not great, guys. That's not a stunning endorsement for the
Yeah.
outfit. So yeah, I.
They've had problems before.
Yeah.
Am I misremembering? But didn't somebody also like rip their sleeves off once, or like change their shoes on?
I think it was the shoes. It was the
Yeah,
shoes.
they have a history of their athletes going out and wearing what they're supposed to be wearing, and then being like, obviously
Nope.
having issues with it, malfunctions, or just not liking it. I don't know. Yeah, I don't need to spend any time talking about them. They are off for me.
Yeah. So better luck next time, I guess. Let's do another quick one. I think we can do is Lacoste. They
Mm-hmm.
signed the very fashionable Evelise to
Yeah.
the brand, so she's a new Fila, a new Lacoste athlete, and their stuff is always very interesting. I feel like branding wise, the photo shoots they do, the fashion shows and stuff, it just always works. Like, it's all like, I've never really worn anything Lacoste, but every time I see those, I'm like, oh, should I go check them out? Should I go do that?
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm.
they had some really great stuff here. I don't have a photo here of Djokovic, just of Medvedev, but just to say that they always wear the same thing. It's like the
Yeah.
same, it's the same color, it's the same pattern, it's just what they wear. It's very interesting to me. I have the photo here of Evelise, and then also of Elsa Giacomo. And
Mm-hmm.
I really liked this knit, almost knit. It's
Yeah.
knit, right? The top that they're wearing.
It's yeah, so you can see the details in some of the closer up images, but yeah, there seems to be some sort of a stitching kind of in the collar line there that really sets it apart. And then Evelise is also wearing a pleated skirt, and the pleated skirt is
Mm.
great. Lacoste lately has been their female athletes have looked significantly better than their male athletes. And I think Evelise is really great signing. I kind of tout her as maybe one of the most fashionable people in women's tennis right now. yeah, I think you have to kind of go to her Instagram and see what type of outfit she's wearing off court. She's fun. So I thought that was a really good
Yeah.
signing from them.
Yeah, very, very good. And of course, I have Venus Williams here as well, who was wearing Lacoste for this tournament. And she kind of has this sort of navy, I think, version of what Eva Lise was wearing with the pleated skirt and the collar as well. So yeah, you're right. I do like what they do more for the women. I don't know if that's just because the men wear the exact I actually don't understand it. It's like, you know, Novak will wear the sort of green, red, and then and same
Yeah.
thing with Medvedev, and it's just the same
Yeah.
patterns on it. It's kind of fascinating to me. But then we have Fila, which Fila was a lot in the news pre-tournament. Like Fila,
Yeah.
people were out here being like, Fila's bankrupt. I was like, whoa.
Yep.
I was like, whoa. But they're here. They're still in it. And they had a few athletes. I've always really liked Fila, and I think I don't know if it was Brandon Nakashima's outfit maybe 2 years ago at the U.S. Open, the sort of like pinstripe one
Yeah.
that came out, and I was like, oh, Fila, hello.
Yeah. That anytime Fila has got to be one of the worst in tennis fashion right now. And there is a lot of talk lately because they basically lost all of their athletes, most of them.
Yeah,
I was not expecting anything from them from the Australian Open, and then I see Boo wearing that heritage pinstripe Fila that is, that's what they're known for. It's from the white line, which was what Bjorn Borg used to wear, but he's wearing a cutoff sleeve version,
yeah,
and Komisana's wearing like kind of a little bit more boring, but still like their heritage colors, but they've got the accent pieces to kind of bring it all together, which is the wristbands or the sweatbands and the headband. And I think it actually kind of came together nice. I mean, these aren't players that are making it deep into the tournament that people are going to be talking about. But I was just scrolling through images and I was like, oh, it's kind of nice. Like, just do that more. Like, stop
yeah,
doing anything else that you're doing. Just roll out your heritage line that everybody loves and appreciates.
yeah, yeah. Every time I see this sort of pinstripe thing, it just takes me back. And you're right. There's something about that plus the headband that just
Yeah,
you're like, Bjorn Borg.
that's so classic looking. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, and now the last slide, the others. Everybody else, because there are just so many brands in tennis now. Although some of the ones that are here, like Jomo and Lotto, even Head, they've been around for a while. So I just wanted to put them in here because I'm sort of like, I'm never really blown away, especially Head. Head is kind of, I feel like, new ish. I mean, not new ish, but their stuff is Marion Cilic is currently wearing Head clothes. Someone was telling me the other day, they were like, what racket brands don't have clothing? And someone said Babolat, but I'm like, no, Cameron Nori, he
Cameron.
wears Babolat, you know? So there are a lot of brands out there. What I also, though, wanted to talk about were the sort of like the new brands that I feel like you maybe wouldn't attach to tennis and are more fashion brands but are doing stuff. And Ayla Tomjanovic, I believe her brand is Penguin. Is that
Yep.
what they're called?
Mm-hmm.
And she always just looks cute. Like, it's always unexpected colors and patterns, and it's always different. Like, no one's going to be looking like Ayla Tomjanovic at the tournament.
Yeah, they've. I think they also sponsored Mackenzie McDonald for a short bit too. They haven't
Mm,
really haven't done much that's impressed me. I think one of them. Sorry to like. I'll just want to toss one more in here that we don't have on the screen, but another example of kind of luxury entering tennis, but also another very random, like they're not a tennis company. Riley Opelka, somebody who got who left Fila because his
yes.
contract was up. He's wearing this brand that I had never heard of called
Yeah.
Sease, Sease. And I thought it was pretty ugly. And it also, the sweat stains looked really bad when he was playing in it.
Really bad.
And he's still wearing pink Fila shoes to pair with it. But he walked out on court with a polo, I'm reading, that cost $635, a hat that cost $410. The duffel bag was $2,700, putting his entire outfit. Oh, and shorts were $705. So he walked out in an outfit that cost $1,800. So that's where we're at.
that he's going to sweat in.
Yeah.
And not nice sweat, not like glistening sweat. No, no, no.
Yeah.
Tennis sweat.
Oh,
Guys,
look.
that's
And
a
this
lot.
article on
No.
Tennis Channel is citing Hardcourt, our Jessica Schiffer.
Yeah, there you go. She has all the deets, but I did see that outfit and I will put a photo of it on the screen here. But if you just, want to think what Jannik Sinner is wearing, but maybe with more brown in it, like
Mm.
that's
Mm.
basically it. And then the one that I mean, kind of just blew me out of the water. And Ian, I don't know what we should do. Should we just go to our favorites and then talk about this outfit
Yeah. So
and do
you've
it
got
that way?
the last one because I didn't really go picture by picture because I don't really have too much to say about each of these. The one that stands out of these ones that you
Yeah,
showed me here is Mattia Bellucci in a
Bellucci.
brand called CP Company, which if you want to go to our favorites, this is my number one, and I believe it's yours too.
Yes. Yes. I don't even know what I was doing on Instagram when this photo came up, but when something stops you in your tracks, that's what this
Mm-hmm.
did. I cannot tell you how good this outfit is. If you are not watching this on YouTube, please stop and look up Matteo Bellucci, who, by the way, we have a great episode on him, a Meet the Player episode. It's in our archives. If you go to our playlist, you'll find his episode there. It is so, first of all, he is one of the coolest tennis players out there. He's just cool. He always, instead of a headband, he wears this bandana
So
during
90s.
tournaments, and he just has a vibe that's just like, I'm
Yeah.
cool. And this photo came up of this shirt he's wearing. Ian, I'll let you describe it because you're so good at the details. But this is what I want every male tennis player to do. He
Yeah.
has character, there's attitude, there's personality, and it's just a photo.
So he's somebody that, he always stands out a little bit to me because he wears the bandana, which is something just, so 90s because that was such a thing in the 90s was wearing these bandanas. And as if that wasn't enough, like the way he wears his clothes is a little bit boxier and kind of hangs off of him a little bit more. And I actually don't know much about CP Company, but I saw this outfit and it just screams 90s to me. It's definitely the combination of the short shorts, the headband, but also the pattern. And I had to know a little bit more about the pattern. He's got an Instagram post and it's with CP Company and it explains the pattern. And this is just such a cool technique, right? So what they do for this design is they scan jacquard knitwear patterns and then have them printed and stitched onto the athletic clothing. So if you want to talk about, I talk all the time on 40 Love and I have in the past about like, well, how do you revive the old styles and fashion trends of bygone eras in tennis, but apply them to functional clothing that you can wear on court that kind of meets the standards of today's athletes and game, but also like can be worn off court, which is a big thing that they highlight here. Is they talk about how CP Company is like I think how did they describe themselves? Sportswear in parentheses not for playing in. So they're intentionally
Oh,
saying that we are going to put our athlete here, Bellucci, in something that looks like it can be worn off the court. It is not your average tennis player's outfit. It's so 90s, and I just thought that's such a cool way to market it. But it's everything that I talked about on 40 Love, taking something that is old, making it new and functional again, but also just making it something that looks good and you would wear off court.
yeah.
It checks all the boxes. Any of the hate that I'm seeing, they're like, oh, the 90s called, oh, they want their shirt back. I'm like, yeah, no shit. That's the point.
That's the point. That's
Thanks
the
for
point.
arriving at the inspiration of the design. 90s clothing is back. Like that, people want shorter shorts. They want boxy, kind of like that oversized boxy look. I don't want, the 90s wasn't known for form fitting. And it's a polo. Yeah, it's great. It is by far my favorite by a mile. And now I will be paying a lot more attention to Bellucci, what he's wearing, and seeing what CP Company has to offer.
Yeah, yeah. It just go to his Instagram, like just the stuff he put, like he's just so cool, and the outfit just matches that cool personality. And again, very few times because I'm just not, it's funny. I love tennis as a sport. I'm actually not a tennis dress kind of girl. Like I could,
Hmm.
when I do play tennis, I play in biker shorts. I'm very Bianca Andreescu. I play
Hmm.
in biker shorts, but instead of like the tanks that she uses, I do sort of like boxy t-shirts. I'm getting this shirt.
It's so good.
It's there's so few times that I actually see something on court that I'm sort of like must purchase,
Yeah.
and
And if
this
you
shirt
wore
did
it,
it.
and just think about like if you wore that and you actually had no idea that this is like a modern brand that just designed this for a tennis tournament, you wear that out and somebody probably thinks that that is a vintage thrift find that you had.
Yeah. Yeah.
You'll get asked. I feel like you will get asked about it. It's so good. It's so good, and I will argue with anybody that feels otherwise. Sorry. This is where I put my foot down. Like there is a
Yeah.
right answer here, and it is that this outfit is so good.
Too good. Too good. So if you haven't realized, of course, we are on our favorites already, and Ian and I both went for the same male player as our favorite. If you are listening to this, watching this, please let us know as well who your favorites are on the men and women's side. Drop it in the comments, send us an email, carrier pigeon. I want to chat about this all day. But now for the women, and this came as a surprise to me
Mm-hmm.
who I picked for my favorite female outfit. Because when I first saw it, so again, like most things, a lot of these images of the outfits are leaked early. I was talking earlier about sort of like where you see the Nike outfit on fit models, and you haven't even seen them on the outfit on the athlete yet. And I saw Naomi's outfit before she wore it on court, and immediately I was like, not for me. Just like I said earlier, I'm not a big dress person. This is such a feminine dress with the frills and the tendrils and all of that stuff. And I was just like, not for me. Until I saw it on her.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw it on her. And for me, a lot of times, kind of like how I described with Bellucci, the sort of connection to the athlete means a lot to me. And seeing it on her, knowing what it all meant, knowing what it means, it's my best dressed of the tournament. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's her, it's personal to her, it looks good on her. I have a photo of her here with just the dress on, but the dress with the jacket on is so cool looking, and she just looks cool. And I was like, that's a look for sure. So Naomi Osaka is my best dressed female athlete at the Australian Open.
All right. Yeah, this is the one that we'll differ on. We spent a lot of time talking about Osaka, so I will just talk about my favorite, which is also a surprise for me. Actually, I mentioned how I like what New Balance has been doing. I've generally really liked the stuff that Coco Gauff has been wearing, but this tournament, I think the package just really all came together in a way that it just set it just enough above some of the other outfits that I liked this year because I think this lavender color that she's wearing is really flattering on her. It's cohesive and that it's in every single detail of what she's wearing. It's her headband, it's her racket, it's her wristbands, it's on a frill around the edges of her sock, it's in her shoes, and it's just a really appealing color. I think it looks good on her. It looks good with her hair color. It's very flowy, like when she's there's all these like still images of her on court and it just kind of breathes some elegance because of the way it is hanging and moving when she plays. And yeah, I wasn't really blown away with a lot of the fashion at the Australian Open this year. For this to be my favorite, it's very simple, right? There isn't, as deep of a connection maybe with Osaka or details that, really kind of go beyond the fold. But I just think when you put it all together with the racket, the way it looks on her, how it kind of touches every piece of what she's wearing, it's hard for me to not say that she isn't the best dressed. So it was a surprise to me because it isn't, again, like I said, the most exciting thing out there or exciting outfit that I've seen, but I just really liked it. So
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that just about does it. These are like my favorite episodes to do. Like, we never don't have fun recording these and just talking through everything. So I hope you guys have enjoyed it. Again, I would really love to know what you guys think, what your favorite looks have been, maybe what you've not been liking. Let's chat in the comments and keep it nice, please. Yeah, that is your fashion episode, your Australian Open threads. I will actually be back on Monday. So we're recording this on Saturday. It comes out Sunday. I will be back on Monday with Lucy Deuce to recap round 3 and 4 and preview the quarterfinals. So excited for that. Otherwise, Ian, do you want to tell people, you've told people a little bit where they can find your work?
oh my gosh, I'm in doing so many different things at once. Yeah, I mean, check me out on 40 Love Tennis. I just love talking tennis with the tennis community and talking tennis fashion. Australian Open's always kind of a fun one because I'm laying on the couch by myself until midnight last night, but sometimes later. So yeah, I love talking about this stuff with everybody. So yeah, you can find me on Instagram and yeah, I'll be out there doing some other things as well. But that's the best place for people to find me.
Awesome. And I can't believe I did not even mention, but Ian is wearing a ground pass t-shirt, which I'm
Woo!
like, represent. Those are still available in our store. So if you'd like to support us, please go over and purchase those. We also have our sweatsuits, which actually I need to post. We have one last run of the pre-orders before the sweatsuits go away forever. So this is your last opportunity to get the sweatshirt pre-ordered before the end of January actually. And yeah, you know what to do. Like, subscribe if you're watching this on YouTube. If you're listening to this on a podcast player of your choice, please leave us a review, a 5-star rating, a comment. We appreciate it a lot. If you have not watched our documentary series Off Season, please do it. These players are so great. They work really hard during their off season, and I had a great privilege of following them around while they did that. I will see you guys on the next episode. Bye.
See ya.